Okay, so first things first, Happy New Year's Eve. This is going to probably be uploaded like right before I do my gotcha pulls and Granblue. So this is going to be uploaded at like 3 p.m. or whatever EST. So Happy New Year's Eve to those of us still in the US when this goes up, and Happy New Year's Day to those who watch it the day after or are already in a time zone that is celebrating New Year's Day. But before after that greeting, I'm just going to warn you right now in this video, I'm going to be mad and I'm going to be angry and I'm going to just rant the whole fucking way through. So if you're expecting like one of my normal videos where I am holding myself back, I'm being like too angry and just being silly normally, don't expect that. I'm just gonna be mad the whole way through. Okay. Normally what I do is when I'm this mad, I vent to the people I like talking multi blood with. So I vent to Alps, I vent to Sine, I vent to Kuradine or Zay or JG. Those five people are the only people I enjoy talking multi blood with. Uh, Anyone else, you probably piss me off in some sort of way, so I just don't bother talking multi blood with you. But normally I vent to those people. But I almost did the bad thing. I almost vented in LSDNA. I almost went full mask off, extremely angry at myself and the game in LSGNA, and well, the part that leaked through is on the screen right now. So this happened after I played a set with Skeleton. For what it's worth, for those of you who are going to watch it after I post it in the description, I think I won the Aftono set 5-3. The Coma set I lost 5-2 or whatever, and I lost the SA set like 5-1 or 5-0. I don't even fucking remember. Anyway, the point is I was mad after the set, and I was like, another set lost to the same bullshit I always lose to with no improvements on my end. I forgot to start the music. What's the point of being a one trick if I'm going to be dog shit at being a one trick? BGS. And Skeleton, trying to lighten the mood, she says, lose to the best in the country equals dog shit, as a joke or whatever. I don't even know what the point of this was, but I'm still being mad here. I'm catching my opponent air blocking with JB, and they fucking air dash at me, and I press a button, and I still lose the interaction. And in response to the lose to the best in the country equals dog shit, I lose to all your subs too. And then afterwards, like 10 minutes later or whatever, I don't know, getting mad about FSA air buttons as H-Kkohaku is pretty funny though. Okay, so first off, Skeleton, fuck you for this. I don't care. I'm just like, bruh, I don't even like, okay. So the thing is, I understand to most people why they are not interested in hearing me out or listening to me complain about H-Kkohaku, because I've already at this point exhausted all the goodwill in the community that they will ever have towards H-Kkohaku. So at this point, most people see me complain post set, and like even if I barely even complained about FSA. Like, if you read what I fucking put on the screen, I was mostly mad at myself, okay? Like, here's the thing. I will admit at the very beginning of this that this is mostly a skill issue. This is mostly me being bad at the fucking video game and being angry that I am still bad. If you take anything else from this, you are fucking stupid. I didn't even complain that much about FSA air buttons. I'm like, I know what's happening. I think I know what's going to happen. You're going to do next in this scenario, and I still fucking managed to do the wrong decision despite playing one character and playing all these sort of decisions back to back. I still continue to do bad at them on one character after so many years. I am mad at myself there. Like, how do you get me complaining about FSA after that? Like, when I posted the clip, I was posting it because I was mad about an interaction. I don't even, let me pull up no, I'm not going to do that. It was a clip of FSA, air super double jumping after the corner after whiffing up me jumping in with the JC. Like, I air dash JC. I 5A afterwards because I don't want to get JC'd like a fucking noob, like, because Skeleton decides to, I don't want her to, like, be greedy and land with the JC. So she super jumps out of the corner, air dash backs JCs. And so I see the air dash back, and in order to, like, I'm doing the JG thing of staying in the corner, and then you see, in order to prevent air dash back button, you immediately rising button with JB, and it fucking loses the interaction, and I get pissed because I was like, okay, I knew this was going to happen. I knew what I was trying to prevent. This was exactly like, if Skeleton did like air shield or some shit to the JB, I would not be mad. That would be I would be slightly mad, but for a completely different reason, because I'm getting pwned, right? But I'm being mad here because I'm mad that I knew what was going to happen. I was calling out what was going to happen, and I still managed to get the fucking situation wrong. And it was like 4K into a corner, and now it's time to guess on H-Kkohaku because this character's defense is some dog shit, bro. And then people are like, oh, well, Omla's just complaining about random mid-tiers again, or he's complaining about his character, or he's trying to downplay H-Kkohaku. Like, let's be for real here. No one plays Kohaku anymore in not Maryland, in fucking North America. I'm literally the only Kohaku player at this point, outside of like Danny in South America, and I believe Danny is mostly playing Lumina nowadays. So pretty much out of any of the active Kohakus, I am the only one that exists. But because H-Kkohaku is not the strongest Kohaku, C-Kkohaku is, a lot of people conflate their issues and preconceived gripes with C-Kkohaku for H-Kkohaku. Like that stupid ass comment that Skeleton posted at the set about me being bad about F-Sale buttons because I was H-Kkohaku being funny. Like, yeah, maybe C-Kkohaku doesn't have a fucking problem with those air buttons, because whenever she manages to counter hit them, there is like no thought going behind her head as she 2C, 5CCs your ass into the corner with a 6K mix, and like even if you block the mix, it's half decent block string offense. Like, it's not even the best block string offense in the world, but it's guaranteed mix into like safe lockdown, right? That's not what happens when I counter hit those buttons with my buttons. Also, my buttons are all worse than Haku's buttons in this context of dealing with F-State air buttons. But I digress. I'm not even going to be that mad about the comment other than a nice fuck you and continue on to my next point. So, like, let's be clear here. I'm mostly mad at myself, and I'm a little bit mad at my character. And let me discuss first things first, why I'm mad at myself. Because the thing is, I'm not bad at Melty Blood. I am very much above average compared to a lot of the people still playing, and I have pretty notable wins on like most people. But the thing is, I play one character, a character that is widely agreed to be like high tier, and not even like middle of the road high tier. Some people would argue that she's one of the best high tiers in the game, like top 10, top 15 character. And despite me playing that one character and putting all that time into that one character, I still lose to people who are better than me, swapping to a random mid-tier that they don't even play with any sort of consistency, like F-Tono, or like people will randomly be trying the top tier of the month, and I'll still lose, or I'll win barely. Like, I'll win the set like 10-6 or whatever, 10-7, and that's, I don't know, that pisses me off, because like, what's the point of putting all that effort into one character if people are just going to like smoke on your effort and just swag on you with like the random mid tiers that they don't even play or practice, right? So it's just basic fundamentals. But the thing is, my character can't even deal with people dealing with like the basic BL bullshit and Melty Blood anyway. So that's the thing that I'm mad about. I'm trying to deal with like something that I've been trying to deal with over like the past 1 or 2 years, and I'm still failing to deal with it, and it's just bubbling up to the point where I'm getting really mad at the game. So I'm just going to talk and rant about my feelings and the interactions and situations that are pissing me off about Melty Blood. So first things first, let's talk about basic neutral. My character does not have buttons to press in neutral at all, which ends up hurting her air-to-air game a lot. Because like the typical Melty Blood strategy, like the core tenet of Melty Blood neutral is that you scout with JA. If nothing's happening when you scout with JA, you use your air to ground button in order to get some pressure. So you like try to jump in on them with your air to ground. You control space with your air to ground. You use your JA to scout like preemptive buttons, and then you use your air to ground in order to do like claim space. And everything out, like most characters can be played like with extreme competency with that basic game plan alone. But my character is both extremely bad at dealing with that game plan and is also unable to run the same game plan herself, because first things first, H-Kkohaku's JA is some fucking garbage. It is one of the worst JAs in the game in terms of space away from like her I don't like her positional box. I'm saying that wrong. Collision box. Yeah. Her JA, like the hitbox, is like right on top of her collision box, and it is a tiny, tiny JA. Like if you look at the average JA in this game, if you look at Tono, Aki, all three Akiha JAs, if you look at Nero JA is like a ridiculous, so that's not even a good example. If you look at Roa JA, you look at Arc JA, CL JA, those JAs are all pretty fucking disjointed from like their collision box, and they're like at a horizontal, not horizontal, they're like at the top right corner of the model, right? So they're generally really, really good at scouting, and all those characters I listed all have a really good air to ground as well. Like even if the air to ground is not like super good, it at least hits like Len Catwalk at the very, like, I guess that's sort of extreme, but like it hits characters pressing 2B trying to anti-air. Generally, most of those characters have that. My character's JA is like right on top of her, and it's complete dog shit because the reasoning, it makes sense. Like she doesn't need a good JA because she has a JB that hits up above her by like 16 miles. So the idea was that the JA is more for like direct contesting, right? But the issue is that Kohaku's ground movement is dog shit, so she struggles to reposition herself at all in neutral, and that's why she has like big buttons, right? She has a broom. So the idea is the character with the big broom normals is not like zooming around the screen like she's not Tony Hawk or whatever. She's like a little bit of a tank, right? So her JA allows her to like slowly control space, and then her JB and JC are supposed to be the anti-air buttons. But the issue is, like, if you press JB and you whiff it, it is an air normal, so that means you have to go through, like, you have to land before you can do anything, and you suffer 2 frames of landing recovery. So generally, because Kohaku is so bad at moving, she's dealing with her opponent like jumping in on her, so she has to like either hyper preemptively JB, or her JB is just going to be stuffed out, because before the super broken active red hitbox comes out, what happens is that there's 2 frames of her her green being entirely extended. This is typical in Melty Blood for most, like, all normals, but Kohaku has it the worst because she has some of the biggest extended green in the entire game, and her recovery on a lot of her moves is like extremely long. The thing is, people don't consider that because most of the time when you're dealing with a broken Kohaku, you're dealing with H-Kkohaku, who 5C has really good recovery. She has 4B, so she's pressing a button in neutral that is extremely good at ground footsies. She has JC, which is an amazing air to ground, so even despite the fact that H-Kkohaku JA is the same as H-Kkohaku JA, and as such, it's a really bad JA for scouting, she has a broken air to ground that allows her to facilitate that, you know, the average Melty Blood game plan, right? H-Kkohaku does not have an air to ground because JC is a dog shit air to ground. Like, people will kind of pretend and tell me that it's a half decent air to ground because they can cross up, but man, if you are looking at the screen and the gameplay that I'm showing you right now, there are so many times in which the opponent dashes under me, crouches, and presses a button hyper preemptively, and I press my JC in order to beat that, and it just completely whiffs, and what ends up happening is I get pinned or I'm just forced to block. That move is not good at landing on the ground. So many 2Bs in the game will just flat out low profile it. 2Bs, mind you. I'm not even talking about shit like Catwalk, like how, like Catwalk, like Len, if you ever jump versus Len and she's on the ground and you press a button, you are legit trolling because you will never ever hit her, because what's going to happen is she's just going to hold 3 and whiff punish your ass before ever trying to like jump on her with a button. But that's not like unique to H-Kkohaku, although she's probably one of the characters that has the worst of it. But at least in that matchup, she has JB, and Len hates being on the ground because Len players are chronically addicted to jumping, right? So it's not as bad as it could be. But the thing is, despite, like, even versus like the average anti-air in this game, like the average anti-air in this game is dog shit, right? Even versus like people mashing mindlessly 5A, your JC is just going to lose to it, because what happens is that the JC is like barely disjointed downwards at all. Like her JB hits almost just as down as her JC. Like her JC just hits ever so slightly more downwards than her JB. And it's not enough, because what ends up happening is a lot of the cast is just capable of just mashing 5A and like winning the interaction and like forcing a trade. Like they'll trade with the JC, which pretty much is a win, because if you trade with a button on the in the air while you're on the ground like that, you just win the interaction. You get a full counter hit combo in like 90% of cases. Even if I space the JC out because of the fact that Melted Blood, you extend your green for 2 frames before the active for most moves, that means I still end up losing regardless, because most characters will just still be able to trade, because a lot of the times JC doesn't even come out. What happens is that they preempted the green, and the green is huge because the red is huge on that move. So like I don't have a way to like scout in the air with low risk, because there's always the risk of me getting anti-aired, and then I don't have buttons on the ground to be pressing in order to like poke and carve out spaces in neutral. So what always ends up happening is I am on the back foot versus these gorilla characters that are scouting with JA, so I can't like claim space with JC charge, because what happens is I end up getting scouted with a JA like super preemptively, and there's very little risk to like scouting with JA like that unless you like hard call it out with like JB. And you're like, because my character is so bad at moving, and her air backdash and air dash are like, while they're really good in neutral, they're very good in like mixing up her timing in neutral, they're just not like, her backdash is extremely slow and it's extremely clunky. I'm talking about her air backdash here, by the way, just so I'm clear. And her air dash, it's like, if she had JC, it would be way better than it is on H-Kkohaku. H-Kkohaku air dash sort of sucks because she doesn't have like an actual air to ground. So what you're doing is the way you use like air dash as H-Kkohaku is you are based on a character by character basis. You just air dash above the biggest air to ground, and you just hope that your opponent presses the button way too early. And then you just like delay with JA and fall into them and hope that they don't recover in time to block, and that they don't recover in time to just press 5A and swat you out of the air. Like there are so many times like you can see that I try to play like sort of like patient and try to anti-air people. I just can't do it because my character can't do it at all. So I'm definitely doing something wrong. But anytime I try to do something, like I try to do stuff like 236B in order to anti-air, that doesn't work. A lot of the characters just fucking fly over it, and it's only active for 2-3 frames, and it's slower than H-Kkohaku JC, not JC. It's slower than H-Kkohaku Mech 236B by like a frame, and it has a worse hitbox for anti-airing. And even if I do anti-air with it, the reward is like abysmal. And then when I try anti-airing with 623A, I have similar issues too, because the character just can't move at all on the ground. So people just get away with like, even F Tono can just scout with JA and JC and force me into uncomfortable situations on the ground. And then he just pulls up on me, and I'm like, damn. When I try to do the same stuff to other people, my character just can't move as fast. Like I try to chase people out of the corner, like they overcommit to, like they burn all their air options to get out of the corner. My air dash isn't fast enough. My ground dash isn't fast enough. My buttons will not reach that far. And if I do like try to press a button to reach that far and it whiffs, like let's say my opponent decides to burn an air dash like super late in order to avoid like the 2C pin, my character's green is out for like a whole like 10 frames and it's completely extended. And that's just neutral. Another thing that pisses me off a lot when I play sets like this is like, okay, now I hit you, and I'm running some of the worst dog shit block swing offense in the game. My character cannot, like, she has one mix-up point every single set. Like, if she's up close to you, the first, like, 2 or 3 buttons are the scariest, because if she, like, throws you between those, it can be game over, because she has some of the best offense in the game, like Okizeme wise. But if the risk of doing that is so bad, especially when you consider that H-Kkohaku's defense is completely ass. Like she ever gets hit in the corner, she ever gets put in the corner, it's like very likely that she just loses from there, because her 2A and 5A are complete bad. They're dog shit at Abari because they're so small. Even compared to like every other 4-frame in the game, her 2A and 5A are the smallest. And when it comes to like 5As in the game that are like 5 frames or whatever, a lot of them are like triple the size of Kkohaku 5A. So a lot of characters will just like they can afford to do shit like mash 2A and pressure, and they won't lose to shit like people like trying to be super patient outside of like 5A range or whatever, because their 5As are just massive. Like in order to like people complain about Kkohaku 2A being 4 frames, but that's usually in the context of C Kkohaku having EX Shield 5A, which is silly. and I get that's annoying, but for like H-Kkohaku, having the 5A be 4 frames legit only fucking matters for combos because it's so bad to match out of pressure with it, when a lot of characters are running pressure at a space in which the 5A is not just going to ever hit you. And despite the fact that it's relatively tall, Kohaku is like one of the taller characters in the cast, and her 5A is not even that tall. So a lot of characters, like if you try to like 5A anti-air, it doesn't work that well on Kohaku. You'd think she'd have a half decent 5A anti-air, especially considering like Koma, her 5A hits crouchers, but no, it just doesn't fucking work because she can't position herself with any, like she can't force you to like do your shit at like a later time because it's so bad in order to anti-air you with anything else. 5B sucks, 236B sucks, 623A and 623B are such meme options. Like 623B is half decent, but you get no reward, and if you get hit, you get counter hits crouching, so it's like you pretty much die. So she can't force you to like mix up your timing, and she can't force you to just leave her alone in the air, so you're just landing on her with half decent air to like what Skeleton's doing right now. You're just landing on her and you're forcing her to spend meter to like bunker shit, or she just has to like hard call you out with shield, and it's H-Moon shield, so she doesn't even get like a full punish half the time if you have your double jump, because you can just up back it on reaction. And then when she runs her block string offense, like the most she usually gets is like a 5B straight hit versus you in the air. And so what ends up happening is that it's so fucking free to like fuzzy jump her. Like she has to hard call out your fuzzy jump in order to like get you out. And another thing that's fucking stupid is like in this, I just remembered on defense, since we're talking about defense right now, because her 2A is so small, a lot of the characters can like dash throw her super easily. Like if you try to like dash throw like characters like Tono, their 5A is like 4-5 frames, but it will hit you from a fucking mile away. If they dash throw you and you 2A mash it, a lot of the times your 2A mash will lose because it is just so small that their dash is fast enough and it advances while they're doing the throw. So your 5A will whiff and you get dashed out of recovery. So you have to like time your 5A press or 2A press in order to like hit the dash 5A, and at that point you might as well just ID back in order to try to win the interaction. Like it's everything about this character pisses me off except when I'm like running my shit. But half the time when I run my shit I guess wrong. But like when I do that, it's like, okay, I guess wrong. I played wrong. I messed up my Okizeme or whatever. But another thing is that there's so many characters that just don't fucking care about shit like that. Like Tono, like no one's out here labbing Tono like no one's labbing Tono safe jumps or anything. No one's labbing Tono mix, and they can win without it because everything else is like solid enough, even if it's not good, so that you can just play consistent and clean, and you don't have to worry about fucking bullshit. Your character is going to consistently win shit like all the time. My character is if you ever drop anything ever, you just like in this set, because the connection was ass for whatever reason, like I think it's because of my old Ethernet cord. I legit just swapped it right after this set because it came in the mail like right after the set came. So I think because of my old Ethernet cord, it was dropping packets or whatever. I kept messing up combos like that, like the counter hit 2A 2C, or like counter hit shield counter combos, and if I drop a combo I just die because my character's defense is bad. Like she has nothing to escape the corner with, her movement's super bad, all she has is reward, and half the time I'm not even getting the reward. So what I end up doing is I'm playing neutral most of the time, because versus strong players of course you're going to end up defaulting to neutral. I'm just losing cleanly because my character just cannot play neutral that well, so, which means I have to be the one to, you know, I have to, like, a lot of being good at a fighting game is contributing to what your character lacks. Like, if your character does not have good neutral, you're gonna have to get better at neutral. If your character doesn't have super broken like Okizeme or set play, you're gonna have to get better at opening people up. But my character, like, she's supposed to have super broken set play, and it is broken, but I like never end up doing it, so all of her weaknesses end up shining through in my play, and it's so annoying because people will say I'm doing the right thing, but I'm very clearly losing. I'm very clearly like, a lot of people shit talk me behind my back and think I don't know, like how they say I'm like the worst of the people in my generation or whatever, like how Zay and Jog and all those people are like way more consistent, and like people will say them and say they're like good at Melty and that they revitalize their faith in Melty. Like anytime people are talking about people who got good within the last 3 years, I will never come up with that situation, but you know for sure that Jog and Zay will be on that list, and they will just leave me out because I know what people think about me. They don't think like I'm good or anything. They think I'm being carried by Kohaku set play or whatever, and I'm being carried by a character that has a command grab in Melty Blood, because command grabs in Melty Blood are strong. So like despite the fact that I can win shit, nobody actually like believes I'm good at the game. They think my character is good. I'm the only person right now who's capable of like piloting her and landing the shit. So like no one thinks my neutral is nice or whatever. They just think that my character is strong, and everything else is like, oh well, he's just doing something wrong. He's having an issue with these air buttons on H-Kkohaku. Like notice how I said C there, not H, because that's what people are thinking about when they see my character most of the time. They're like, H-Kkohaku is super scary in these situations, so of course H-Kkohaku, since she has the tube C and the JB, she's scary in these situations too. Like they don't see it as like, okay, because H-Kkohaku doesn't have 4B or JC, these situations in which JB and 2C are super strong they become less strong in the absence of all the other tools. They don't see it like that. They see it as, well, H-Kkohaku hits me and she runs left, right, and if she grabs me, she touches me, she does like a 12-second combo into Oki, and I have to guess for game. And it's not even guess for game most of the time. It's guess for like 30% of your health, but that's besides the point. It loops, and so it's strong. So I'm not trying to say it's not strong or whatever. I'm just trying to say that like people see like the fact that like it feels bad to get hit by H-Kkohaku shit. Of course it feels bad to lose to anything, right? But because like H-Kkohaku, when she's like working, she feels like a lot stronger. Like her Okizeme is stronger than H-Kkohaku's Okizeme, and she has the JB and the 2C for neutral. So people do not like, they don't put two and two together on how, because she lacks like the buttons to press the neutral, everything else about her game plan becomes so much weaker. And it pisses me off because then I get like snide comments like that, and it's like, dude, like I almost responded to that thing like in Discord, but I was like, I don't feel like talking about Melty Blood, H-Kkohaku at length in chat when I'm so very much mad. I'm very angry, and this rant, I'm going to upload it. I'm going to listen to it in my free time. I'm going to be so mad. I'm going to be like, damn, this guy is being incoherent. But this is for me. I'm just venting. I want to feel a little better about this set, because I'm just so mad. Like it's not like I'm sitting here being mad and I'm not trying to like fix the issue. Like I recognize that there are issues within my play that I have to work on. It's just that I'm trying to work on them, and then they don't get fixed despite the fact that I'm doing my best effort in order to try and fix them. And I just get like pwned by the same JA scout bullshit. Like Zay played F Vyakia for like 2 weeks, and the set was like 10-7, and the next set he won like 10-9 or whatever. And I'm like, man, what's the fucking point of me doing this shit on this character if people who are good at the game and good at fundamentals just pick up any high tier or top tier within like 2 weeks and start winning sets versus me like consistently? I'm not gonna swap, because if I ever swap off of H-Kkohaku, I'm just not gonna play Melty Blood Extras in current code, to be completely fair with you. Like I don't find F-Kkohaku that fun anymore. I literally only like playing this game because H-Kkohaku's in it. So it's not like there's no point in like people are gonna be like swap characters or something. No, I just have to get better and improve and just keep putting in more time. But it's so annoying putting in that time when nothing ever fucking happens when I put in the time. Like I try. I really do try to like analyze all my mistakes and stuff so that I can win sets and not lose them, but then I still lose to the shit that I'm trying to not lose against. Like even when I win sets nowadays, I'm not even happy because I'll lose to like somebody like air back teching or some shit, or like chasing my text super duper hard in a manner that I understand is too hard. Like they wouldn't get away with that versus Skeleton or Alps, and they don't get away with it versus Zay or Jog. They're getting away with it versus me. I'm doing something wrong, and a lot of the times when I win sets is because people just guess wrong on my Okizeme. So it's like, damn, I really just got saved because my character can loop brain dead Oki like 10 times in a row and just like force the issue from there. And that doesn't feel as satisfying to win with as it used to. So nowadays I'm just like trying bullshit in neutral. Like I'm trying to incorporate 236B as the anti-air, despite the fact that move is sort of dog shit. I just have to do it, and I'm trying to find a way to make sure everything works. And it's like, man. And like, another issue is that because the player base is so small, the amount of people I can get like good practice in and actually like test stuff with is like zero. Like Skeleton and Alps like got me so hard in like 98% of our interactions that what ends up happening is I get like 5-0 3 times in a row. They're like, yo, you did good, but not good enough, I guess, smiley face. And then it's like, damn, back to the fucking lab again, where versus like 98% of players, I can just hit JB and JC and they will fucking fold. And it's not even their fault. They're learning. There's a whole bunch of people around their skill level to learn with, so they don't have to worry about that yet. But it's like, I'm both playing a character that's not very well documented outside of like the shit I lobbed for her, and like there's no Kohakus to like check spacing with, because the H-Kkohakus have 4B and a better 5C to play neutral with, so we don't even end up playing neutral the same. Like I tried to use H-Kkohaku footage in order to like test shit with, but it doesn't work because the threat of 4B and 5C are so obscene in that with that character that it completely changes the way they play like mid-range and shit. And like I didn't even go too much at length on how H-Kkohaku's block string offense is like dog shit or whatever, because this video is already 30 minutes long of me ranting and jumping around all over the place because I'm not structuring it, and I don't feel like trying to structure it out, my thoughts on her block string offense. But man, it is just so annoying to play this character, and like everyone, like all the other top players are like, they play like 3 different characters or some shit, and it's like I play one character all this time and I'm losing to people who are hopping around playing 3 different characters, and it's like, dude, and half of them are mid-tier, so it's not like I'm being character gapped. Like my character wins versus FC and F-Tono, I just don't win. And it's like a lot, like sometimes I'm winning because I lose because I drop the combo, but a lot of the time I'm just being gapped in neutral versus shit I shouldn't be getting gapped in neutral, and then I lab versus that shit that's gapping me in neutral, and it still continues to gap me in neutral because then we run into character issues. So the basic stuff that a lot of other people do in order to deal with the situation just doesn't work on my character. And I try to tell them that it's just, there's like a lot of people are not going to engage with that at a slightly higher level than normal, so it becomes super annoying. I get mad, I type something mean in the chat, normally to myself, because I've gotten a lot better at not being mean to other people in regards to Melty Blood opinions. A lot of the time I don't even fucking chat in LGN anymore because I don't want to like say something mean. And I think I've gotten better at self-reflecting and thinking about what I say before I type it out, which is important because I started this game when I was 19, and I very much, not even 19, I was 17 when I started Melty Blood, so I was very much not thinking about that shit when I was starting almost 5 years ago. It's like 4 years at this point, but I was not thinking about that in May 2021. So it's like I've improved a lot as a person and as a player, but it is not fun to be stuck at the same exact wall that I was at 2 years ago. I mean, it could be worse. There are some things that I've noticed that I've gotten a lot better at. Like people are no longer getting out of like they're not gambling as much versus my wake up. I'm not losing immediately on wake up as much as I used to, but like I still have the same issues with catching jump outs of my pressure. People like super double jump out of my corner offense, and then I'm scrambling in order to get them from mid screen, despite the fact no one ever seems to have a problem with doing that on fucking Coma or some shit. Like Coma and Tono, they just zoom all the way out to the fucking corner, and then they catch you with their JAs, and it's like, well, you better get used to blocking the other corner. Woo, much variety. And then whenever they super double jump out of my pressure, it's like, dude, it's so fucking over. I JB them, and then they press a fucking button once they hit the ground, and half the time if I try to challenge that button, I'll just end up being smoked because my button will either not hit, or will just like get counter hit because it's too slow. It's so much about this game really grinds on my gears, but that's because I like the game and I like playing H-Kkohaku, so I will just get better. Like I very much started this with me saying that this is skill issue rant, because most of it is skill issue, but I just wanted to rant anyway. Okay, I think I'm done. I think I got all the vitriol and bile out of my system. Have a happy new year. I hope you guys enjoy Multi-Blood more than I am right now, because what I'm going to do after this, I'm probably going to review this set that you're watching on screen in more detail. I'm going to get mad again and then just lab versus a whole bunch of bullshit again. Also, last thing. It is so fucking annoying. I have to practice all these super hard combos that if I drop, I just lose the interaction, like extremely hard. When characters like C-Coma, C-Arc, F-Tono, they do their basic BMBs, and then they fucking, like, if they ever drop them, they hit 2A or they ID, like, and then they cover all the fucking tech options in the world, and then it's like, dude, I wish I could play a character that could cover techs. That's so annoying. It comes up so often because this character is so good at dropping combos in which, like, you get ground tech, well, it's time to guess. Like, they can, like, they tech forward, you have to react with the JA and hope they press something super preemptively. Because if they don't, you're probably losing the interaction because, well, Kkohaku Dash sucks. Her buttons are all not very active, and if you whiff them, you die. It is... playing a hard character executionally in a game with mindless monkeys like Coma and Arc is so annoying. That's it. I'm done. I'm done for real this time. For real.